Weird flex, right?
Yeah, I have two, though, don't worry.
I mean, it's amazing. Okay, Jin, are you here? Hello?
Yeah.
Hey. So I was just like Aves was kind of asking like, okay, well, like I feel like I don't have a firm understanding of what you guys want from me calling wise. And I sort of uh he feels like Naga did a pretty good job with sort of like some version of what he thinks we might want, and this kind of led perfectly into sort of what we were talking about yesterday with sort of what we wanted to go over. So I figured we can talk about the calling stuff first.
Hmm.
And so I was telling him like the way I think about this, at least personally, like because I feel like the most important thing for coming up with these sort of like high level calls, like coming up with like the right compositions, coming up with like the right paths to engagement, all of that stuff, all of it kind of boils down to sort of like how you see it panning out in your head. And you know, you just need to sort of think about on a low level, like if you run sort of like, a very simplified sort of like simulation, like in your head, like what happens. And so I was talking about really the main two factors for me, like when it's not about ultimates, like when we're in a neutral status where everyone has sort of like even ult economy or no ult economy in the beginning. To me, it's about terrain and composition matchup, right? So it's like you're sort of thinking, okay, well, sort of like first of all, does our composition make sense with the terrain, and does it also make sense with like what we're going up against? And then once that's all sorted out, how do we get in? What do we do here? What do we need to worry about once we get in? And just sort of playing it out in your head will give you a very firm idea of if you have the right setup for it. So that's like, and then we were talking here about like just a little bit of like, okay, well, here are some specifics. Like if we're thinking about just composition versus composition, generally what the matchup is or what the conventional wisdom says about these matchups. And so like we were talking about these ones here, and stuff like spam beats goats, and then there's always permutations onto it, right? So it's like bunker sometimes beats goats, but also it depends on the map, right? Because goats can just fucking get in on top of bunker on some maps and just destroy it. Like so, really good example is Eichenwald first. So if a good bunker sets up where we were setting up yesterday, uh,
You can
goats
just
gets
like kind of pick goat support.
exactly if they walk straight towards you, but if they take a hard right and loop around behind, the bunker needs to know how to rotate, or it's gonna get fucking demolished because goats is just gonna run like ram right into it in the house, and it's gonna be too late by that point for them
Yeah,
to do
I mean
anything.
in theory that comp should beat that out too, because Junkrat just spams.
Should I don't know. So with perfect execution, I kind of agree with what a lot of people say, or what some people have been saying, and that in that I think goats does just beat everything if it's executed perfectly.
Yeah, because it's goats.
Yeah, but if we're relying on some sort of mistakes, yeah, I think if there's any moment of hesitation from them, if like because it's like bunker wants time, right? Like we want to build Riptire, we want to just work your shield down, we want you to run out of matrix. All of these things are gonna get us closer to our win condition, and it's kind of going back to the same thing, right? Like you just need to sort of play it out a bit in your head, and that'll give you a much better idea of sort of like what needs to happen and how our playstyle needs to be. It's like if we think about how goats beats bunker, it's like if we're constantly thinking about that, then we should know what rotations we need to be calling, we should know what we need to worry about, and we know what their win condition is. So it gives you a much better idea of how to be updating the fight calls or updating the
Hmm.
calls mid-fight, because you want to constantly be denying that.
Okay.
Uh, so I think we can sort of move on to sort of the next thing, which that I wanted to talk about, which is sort of like alt planning, using alt information, all of that stuff. So I showed this a little bit to Jin yesterday, and so we're sort of thinking, we're starting at the question portion. What alts? we get that information, and this is sort of the thought process I want you to have.
Mm.
So let's say for example, I'll just say like beat barrage. Oh, I'm sorry. No, no, no. This is jumping the gun a little bit. This is what we have. What else do we have? So as a shot caller, you like the idea is that you're starting at a point where you have an idea of what we need to be doing without any ults based on the terrain of the map and based on the composition we're playing against and the one that we're running. Now we have ultimates. You should be thinking, okay, well, how do I update that baseline sort of idea of what we're trying to do? So
Mhm.
we get some ults, it doesn't really matter, but you can sort of evaluate each one the same way. Uh, which ults need specific planning? So Shatter is not going to be something that you're really incorporating into your game plan, right? Because first of all, it's kind of inconsistent, doesn't always go
Yeah,
off. And also the Reinhardt's going to be the best judge of when to use it. So you
that's
don't
kind of like
really
Barrage too.
yeah,
You, you
to
can
an
telegraph
extent.
Barrage a little bit more though.
Right. And so yeah, I think you already have a very good sense of sort of where I'm going with this. That like so
Yeah.
it's like probably not Shatter,
Whereas like Grav and shit, you have to plan.
right, or EMP. And so the idea is you need to be asking what's the minimum level of detail that I have to give my Sombra, so like for EMP, minimum level of detail to get value. And to do that, you need to be thinking, okay, well, what needs to happen in this fight for this to work? Like, what needs, okay, we EMP, but how do we EMP? Where do we need to be? Like, how do we make sure that we can follow up? Like, you need to give your Sombra a signal to watch.
Yeah.
And so that means like, okay, well, when we get to this point, when we get to like the last pillar on point B of Paris, that's when we want you to pop the EMP. Like, because like right now, we have our Sombras just kind of doing random shit
Yeah.
and they
Hoping
get
for the
caught.
best.
They get caught out early. They have to reset. But like if they know like I need to be there to EMP at this specific point, that's good. Then it's going to happen. And the idea is that you've already planned out where you want that to be. You have a pretty good sense that like, we're gonna be able to follow up from this position, and that's a plan. That's a plan that works.
Yeah.
So, oh shit, I fucked up my own like flow chart.
Nice.
Yeah, I even had like the arrow and everything. So, call to the Sombra should be something like Sombra, wait for us to side steps on the back part of Paris B. then EMP. And you can think of some short version of that. Like, it doesn't have to be super, super, super detailed. Like I said, it's all about the minimum level of detail needed. And these kinds of things get easier and easier once we get more and more experience with playtime.
Yeah.
So this is sort of our side, right? This is our side of the ult planning. But the idea here is that we need to combine this still with their side.
Hmm.
So
So basically, just like putting the calls together with what they have and like where they're positioning and whatever.
yeah, it's the idea is still updating sort of, okay, well, if we, you know, I mean, you can sort of evaluate some of the pieces independently, and I'll be more specific about that. So we get some answer on what do they have. So the idea is that when you get the answer of what we have, this flow chart is sort of like what we're hoping we can get to.
Mm.
Sort of some basic plan that we can play out in our heads and be like, okay, makes sense. That's fine. When we know what they have, let's say they have like barrage, uh, beat. Let's just say those two. I was thinking nano too, but like I think that's just gonna add too much complication.
Mm.
Um, so the thought process after you get these answers are gonna be
How can we play around them? How can we beat them?
okay, and so then what's the first step in figuring that out?
Which ones they're going to use? How
Okay,
they're going to use them?
right. Okay, and so then when you're thinking about how they're going to use them, what kind of variables are you thinking about?
Like where, what's coupling with which, when.
Yeah, I think exactly where and when. So where and when are they going to use these? So if it's like, for instance, like if we know they have nano and we go in on a target, it's super important that we don't heavily overcommit in such a way to it, or overcommit to a target in such a way that if they don't die, then we lose. Because it's like they're just, the Ana's just going to wait until they're low and nano them.
Mm.
And so then it's like then we're now out of position and we're kind of effed. Or just be like the call should be something like everyone needs to focus fire the Winston. He's gonna get nano. We need to kill him through it.
Yeah.
Like and that's it. Like the team just knows like okay, well if we stop shooting this Winston, he's gonna get nanoed. He's probably gonna build up primal if he doesn't have it and use that and just draw this fight out forever and probably fuck up our whole plan. So we need to kill him like now.
Yeah.
And so that's like something we need to incorporate into the process. And like that's sort of independent of this whole like single story that we're trying to tell here. So I'll leave that again to the side, but that's just a quick example. So like if we're thinking about their barrage, I mean first of all, like I think okay, well we're going to have like if we have beat to worry about, then their Lucio's probably going to be hiding if he's good. Um, But if we speed onto them, we should still be able to kill at least one person before the beat gets cast. Because of just the fact that the Lucio isn't there and there's a cast time to the beat. So it still shouldn't matter. If we're close enough to engage, we should still at least get like one kill. So we don't have to worry too much about the beat. But the barrage, that's going to be a huge problem because while we're sort of setting up, we know that they're going to try and barrage early. So before we get in, so that's sort of like your when, kind of. But the other part is you need to, and again, this is sort of how I was saying, like you need to be thinking about like map terrain, that kind of stuff. And so it's like where do Pharaohs barrage?
Like in the backline, kind of above your team, or they should at least.
Yeah, so like when you walk into a map, it's always going to be like around a corner, usually above,
Yeah.
as you walk through a choke. So that should give you a sense of what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be using it. You just make simple assumptions. Like you just need to be thinking like, well, where's the best place for them to use this? If they use it in out in the open or something, like that's going to be fine. We're going to fucking destroy them. But their best option is to do it like that and to
Yeah.
mess us up before we can set up for the EMP. And this specific play has fucked us so many times and like literally just getting barraged before we can uh get value out
Plan.
of an EMP combo. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that too.
So the call here, and so, assuming that we're probably running Pancake on Diva, my call would probably be something like Diva, hold, or I don't want to be too unclear there. No matrix usage at all
Yeah.
until they barrage.
You can also tell them where and how to go in. If they're going to do that plan, I would tell our diva to be the first one out of a door, so she can like look.
Oh yeah, look for the barrage and the matrix it
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah, as opposed to how usually the main tank goes first. But if diva goes first, then they have time to react.
Yeah, and that's sort of the second part of the call that I was going to mention. So like I think yours is like a little bit more explicit and helpful though. Like I think so it's like no matrix usage at all until they barrage, check above and on flanks as we go in. Like just check blind corners. And so then this is their side. And so these two pieces at the end, this is a full plan. Like these two calls. And so it's like we get some route, you just call some route. It can even be arbitrary because it's like, well, if it's left or right, maybe it doesn't matter. Uh, you definitely need to be thinking about it. But if it's effectively, if we feel like it's going to pan out the same, just pick one and then Sombra, wait for us to get to the side steps on the back part of B or on the back part, because you're already on B, you don't need to specify. Then EMP. Diva, don't use Matrix at all until they barrage, check above, and on the flanks as we go in. Like,
Yeah.
and those two things should be enough. And then the idea is that sort of as the fight updates, you need to be thinking, how is that plan going? Like I have this vision of sort of how this is panning out in my head. Something changes, like let's say we kill the Pharah early or something for some reason. She fucks up and we catch her out, kill her. That frees up Diva's Matrix, right? So now we have an opportunity to be even more aggressive because we have Matrix free to allow people to get in and deal extra damage. And so then that's also your call to make because Pancake is currently listening. He's currently waiting to use his Matrix, and he's not necessarily going to know that you
Yeah.
want him to burn it to get in and finish off a fight early. Because it's like if we kill the Pharah, then the new game plan is we need to end the fight before this Pharah gets back and becomes relevant again.
Yeah. That goes for pretty much like any character though.
Of course, yeah, of course. Um, but yeah, so I think in my mind, this is, I've definitely chosen a very easy and simple example, but this I think is what we ideally want to be going for every fight.
Yeah.
Is this like a clearer, like,
Yeah, it does feel better. It's like a decision matrix kind of.
yeah, it's just like a really simple sort of like I mean, you should think of it as a process of building a
Yeah.
fight in your head, right? Because it's like I'm starting with a simple world in a vacuum, two compositions against each other on a map. What do we kind of do? Because you still need a game plan, sort of like even if you don't have ults to use. And I think that's what a lot of teams struggle with. The idea there is like you still want to be just trying to capitalize on your natural advantages. What are the pressure points in their composition? What's their weakness in this matchup? Because they should have at least one if we're running a good composition. And if they
Hmm.
don't have one, then that's sort of when you start thinking, okay, well maybe we need to swap. Um, and then sort of terrain wise, how do we sort of enable that? How do we like take advantage of our natural strengths based on the composition we're running and then go in based on that. And then the idea is, okay, well, that's still my game plan. How do the ults change that? How do our ults change that? Like, so that maybe gives a little more texture to the game plan that we want to run for the next engagement. And then once we think about what ults they have, that should modify that even further. Whether that means we need to wait for them to use stuff, or, if that means we need to try and get our stuff out first, we need to just think about how we do that. Like, literally how do we get to that point where we can like execute that play before them? Is that realistic? If not, do we have defenses? If not, you know, do we have the right comp? So hopefully that helps. And the idea is that if you don't know, like if you feel like we don't have a way to do any of those things, um, generally that means it's going to be a composition issue, but the rest is just going to be a learning process for you. If you're, as long as you're comfortable and committed to trying to develop this approach.
Yeah.
Okay, do you feel comfortable with this? Like, would you feel
Yeah. It
comfortable with
does.
this?
I do feel a lot more better.
Okay,
Wow, that was terrific.
much more better. I got you. Okay, cool. So then we can just go straight into the VOD review stuff. So I need to upload, or I need to like link it into q.gg. So just give me a second to do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jin, did you look at all of those VODs?
Watched like half.
Were there any that like you think would be good starting points? I haven't had a chance to look at them.
Mm, there was
Oasis, Hollywood, Anubis. I think those were the only three maps we did, right?
Oasis, the Lucio play.
Okay, so that would be like Gardens, I think. All right,
I
let
think it was
me.
like City Center or whatever.
Oh,
And
really? City
then
Center?
that one was the one that I remember.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Um, we need Zen from Aves.
Yeah. So this VOD actually, the link that I have has City Center and Gardens, and that's mostly Lucio. But then we can do a Zen one after, or would you rather do a Zen one first?
I think Zen one first because that's the
That's what he
one.
plays more.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, I need to find like there's a 40-second one here. I think Anubis is probably where we see the most Zen, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Because we ran like quad DPS
Yeah,
and
because if
shit
we're
on
running,
Hollywood.
yeah, Anubis attack definitely because we run trip support
Okay.
or trip DPS. Wow.
Okay. Hellfiber is like one of their coaches, and like I have not had longer talks about meta than with him. And
The Playlist habe ich jetzt auch
he
mal
was a reason
erstellt,
I
wie
don't
hier den
know meta.
Overwatch Ranked Games, sondern mal vielleicht noch eine mit den Fun Games oder Play of the Games, die wo mal recht gut waren.
Hey.
Yeah, I do hear him talking in the background, Jin. It's weird.
Who, me?
No, no,
Or-
no. There's a so one of my like longtime subs came in and spectated, and he we said he was recording you. And here, actually, I'll post the link here. But I was too pea-brained at the moment to think about like having him in on the Discord call.
Mhm. Too
I
pea
feel like
brain.
that's a recent feature, the full screen. But so we just leave it on mute, so because it's like it's gonna have a bunch of like erroneous audio on it. All right, let me know when you guys are in. Okay, Jin's in. Ace, can you get in?
How to queue? Yeah, give me a second. We're stuck on. Oh, yeah, Budget Sleepy's me. I saw the account name and didn't realize it was me.
Tacardo has a lot of opinions. I wouldn't pay too much mind to them. I told him
It's
that if he
fine.
felt like there was something he felt like you should know, then I invited him to say it. But I apologize if it comes off as flaming.
Toxic as fuck.
Something you need to keep in mind is he's German. That's like
Oh, yep.
it's a cultural thing. Sick. Sick Junkrat positioning. Oh god, really? Oh god, really?
I don't even have sound on, so.
No, it's not the fact that there's no sound, it's the fact that the VOD isn't actually on you for the
Oh.
first like 2 minutes. Oh my god. Okay, so this is the Ugh. It's probably like the third to last push. Okay, they have Nano Blade, probably Beat, probably Bomb. We've got Primal. Nothing, basically. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, we're just gonna be sort of like focusing mostly on positioning stuff.
Yeah.
They look like where the defenders are, right?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Hmm. What do you think some alternatives are to the way that this went down?
Um.
Like, so how would you call this now, given the sort of flow that we're talking about now?
Oh god, it's like. Dude, I don't even know what quality that is. It's like fucking. I have like 3 colors of my screen. That's how blurry the pixels
For
are.
it's 100p.
Oh god. Yeah, I can't see shit.
Like you can't read the text at the top, you can't like read the names even.
Nah, dude. Here, I'll send you a screenshot.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, try refreshing. Let me know if that helps.
There we go. Okay, that's better.
Wow, and it didn't restart it didn't like kick the VOD to a new place. Wow, Q.GG is getting their shit together and it makes me happy. Okay, so we know what they have here. So what I first of all what so just I want you to look at our comp versus their comp. What are some options that we have for engaging?
um,
Don't think about their ults.
yeah, probably just like jumping, either waiting for them to jump us and then counter diving, that or all engaging on their Ana.
So where if they jump us, so then let's evaluate each of those. If they jump us, where's that going to happen?
On me.
Where?
So like when we were walking in, say we walk in like through Underbridge, it'd
Mhm.
be like right before Mega or
Mhm.
Mini. So they would all jump me. I'd have to Discord say collapse in,
Okay.
and then we'd all have to burn one target.
Okay, so that's the perch,
Yeah.
right? Like cuz they're probably going to set up from perch if they do it that way.
Hmm.
Okay. So that leads us towards to one important thing that if they jump you, it's going to be probably from the right side.
Yeah. So from the yeah, from the high ground that's right above it.
Mhm. So okay, so then we have that piece of information. And then we're thinking about counter diving. If we counter diving, that means that we're what? We're waiting for them to sort of like commit to us and
Hmm.
then collapsing on them.
That, or we could just go to point, force them to jump us, and then counter dive that way.
But I mean, realistically, if they know what they're doing, do we
Yeah, they would
really?
jump. They
Yeah,
would jump before them.
exactly. You're not going to get to point. Well, I mean, it'll happen before you get to point. Um,
Hmm.
and so this is sort of what I mean, sort of that like this should inform sort of like because this in itself will give us an idea of like where we want to be going. So it's like if we go to the right, we rely on a lot of stuff. Because I mean, realistically, if they dive you guys, who are they going to be diving?
Me.
Right,
If I'm, yeah, actually, yeah, just me.
just you. Yeah. So you're the target here. We already know that. We already know where it's going to happen if you guys go right. What's it going to take for you to live through that? Because I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? Like
Hmm.
their win condition is killing you, probably. I mean, or Tads, but like, you know, Tads isn't really that good of a target.
Yeah, probably armor pack from Naga,
Okay.
and then amp if need be.
Okay, so amp, what else?
Bubble, matrix.
Bubble, Matrix, what else?
Um, killing the opponent.
What about
Like,
Brigida Shield Bash?
oh well, yeah, CC.
Or Lucio's Boop.
Hmm.
Both are
So basically,
extremely
just like,
powerful.
yeah, booping them off.
Yeah, and so those are those are like sort of minor calls that like you now that you know sort of where it's going to be happening, you can tell them like Brig save armor pack for me when we go through like when we go under perch if we're taking right side. Like
Yeah,
Brig get ready to shield bash if someone jumps me.
yeah,
So if we go right side, we need to have a pretty defensive game plan. Alternatively, we can kind of just go left. Um, then we kind of force them to take a long sight line to get to us because they're probably expecting us just to walk through right.
yeah. That's true. And that
So
also forces, that gives us high ground over point, and it
hmm
forces them to come to us.
yeah, and we can do all of that without even looking at them, right?
Hmm.
Just based on what unless they're super next level and they're reading us. But then again, that's like super super high level. Like if you guys get to that point, then you're probably going to be playing against like 4.4, 4.5 teams.
Yeah,
Um, but like so that's an option. And so like, like if you're evaluating those two options, like since we don't really have any good ults, okay, well, sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. So that's an option. Now we think about what we have. We have Primal. So, if we can't really proactively just be like Winston use Primal and kill something. Like, I don't know, maybe he goes on the Ana, but like what are his Primal targets here?
Yeah. I mean, you could primal the Ana, you could primal the Lucio, but even then, Lucio would be a little bit hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You could
maybe.
probably primal the Genji if he doesn't have dash.
Yeah, we can knock Genji away. So that's an option if you're taking like right side and you need to get him off you. Uh, the other thing. Okay, so now we're sort of at okay, so we maybe go left side to keep us from getting jumped. We try and get to point, try and take the fight there. Also, now we're asking about what ults they have. We know they have Nano Blade, we know they have Bomb, and Close to Beat. How does
Mhm.
that change this plan that you have? Okay, so first of all, what's your plan at this point in
I
your
would
head?
say try to play a little bit defensively, being wary of Nano Blade.
But okay, so are we still taking the left route here?
Yeah, assuming we take left route.
Okay, so we're taking left route. Where do we think they're gonna blade?
I'd say they'd probably like dash up like that, and then like head for me.
I agree. Yeah, it's probably gonna happen here.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what are some things we can do? So what's the advantage of taking the left side here then and taking this platform as opposed to just going to the right side?
It's a lot more open, so you can kind of fend them off more. There's also a mega over here instead of a mini over here.
True, true. Yeah, yeah, both of those things. And also, like, I think you have better natural defenses over
Yeah.
here. Um, the other thing that I think is like really, really, really good here is that being in a position, taking a route that they're not expecting you to take, forces the Genji to isolate himself. Like, I mean, I guess their Winston and Diva can kind of get to him,
Hmm.
but like, it's gonna take him a while, and chances are he's probably gonna be one of the first people to engage. So that's like your best opportunity to actually do something to him.
Yeah.
So like, putting distance between you and dive is always a good thing. And like,
Because it forces them to extend more.
exactly, and they're more like the longer distance they have to go, they're more likely they are to fuck up their rotation because not every hero has the same movement tools, and
Hmm.
they're more likely to be out of sync. It's like you just want to throw as many you want to try and make them adjust as much as possible. And so that's kind of like that's sort of at least the way I would think about this. Like we want to try and make the blade like less convenient for them. Okay, and
Yeah.
so then once let's say the Genji blades in, then what tools do we have? What things do we want to try and be doing to deal with the Genji? So we talked about the boop, we talked about
Bash.
bash, we talked about armor pack, we talked
Armor pack,
about
you could bubble
bubble.
the target he's on. You could also primal him away.
You could primal him away, yeah, and I think that's sometimes a good play if the primal comes out early enough, for sure.
Mm.
What else? What else? Okay, so we can do all of those things, and so we can just say like literally throw the kitchen sink at him, save bubble, uh, save bash, save boop, all of those things. Like, because you've seen like VODs of our games where like like we didn't have Matrix at a time we needed it, or we didn't have Armor Pack at a time we needed it. But if we have this sort of game plan, if we have this played out in our head, we know what we need to save.
Yeah.
So nobody misuses resources here. And now you realize how many fucking tools we have to deal with this, even just with abilities. We don't need ultimates even necessarily if we do
Yeah,
this
that's
well
true.
enough. So that's what's so powerful about playing this kind of stuff out in your head. I mean, it's definitely more brain power intensive and tiring, I think. But a lot of this stuff will just come naturally, I think, as you start to do it more. Um, what else can Winston do besides Primal?
Uh, I'd say jump pack him.
He can jump hack him, but what's the other thing?
I guess bubble. I don't know.
Yeah, like why not just put a bubble over here? So when the Genji's in here and we like
Oh yeah,
back
he
out
can't be
here,
healed or
yeah,
anything.
exactly. You cut him off from his team. Like you want to isolate him. And so then that gives us then maybe even a better line of play. Like we have a lot of tools to deal with this, but it relies on everybody knowing what their part is.
Yeah.
And we get a much better idea of that if we sort of just play this out. And we want to be like ideally you want to be thinking about this as we're walking out of spawn or while we're in spawn so that we sort of know which way we're going from the get-go. But that's the idea here. So then what would your call be at the choke like right now? Let's say we're like back like maybe here.
Go left side, wrap all the way around. Save break cooldowns and boop for the blade.
Yeah, great. And then if we get there and they pop blade, then you want to call to Winston like, hey, or like if you want him, like I think bubble is actually a pretty big part of it. Like you
I
actually,
would say in this situation specifically, save bubble because they have bomb.
yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. So you're thinking for bomb. Yeah, sure. Because if we take left side, they can throw bomb in there, and it's actually a really good bomb. So good point. Okay, but chances are, okay. And so then, what do we think will happen? When do we think the bomb usage will happen?
I'd say either during or after the blade.
Do you think it'll happen during?
It could, because it would cause more disruption around the Genji and it'd be harder to focus in.
I think maybe in this niche case, you might be right. You might be right. But in general, let's say like we're thinking about all this happening on point. What do we think about bomb being used with nanoblade there? What does bomb make people do?
Scatter.
Scatter and hide. And does Genji want that when he's blading?
No.
Yeah, I mean unless he's got like a god tier route mapped out in his head and he can get dashes to everybody and get resets, but like if everybody's inside hiding, like generally not a good game plan. So that's kind of like a judgment call for you to make, like sequencing wise. But I think in general, most teams probably aren't going to try and combo bomb and nanoblade. But in that specific case, they might. But they'd have
Hmm.
to be super ready to do it. And you guys going left side, they probably wouldn't be prepared to do it. But you're right. I think the call to hold bubble there is potentially a very good option. But then at the end of the day, the thing is, it's like you need to know for sure then that your other resources are sufficient to dealing with Nanoed Genji, because otherwise, the bomb doesn't matter really if you lose the fight anyways to Nanoblade.
Yeah.
Um, but the fact that you're thinking about this is really good. So yeah, so you made the call, go left, save X, Y, and Z cooldowns for the blade, and then uh, honestly, yeah, you can kind of just call it step by step if you want, or you can say like then we go to point, like force the fight on point, or you don't have to say anything and just deal with it once we deal with the nano blade, then make the call.
Hmm.
But that's going to require a little bit more effort from you. I mean, I think it's actually probably more effective if you wait for the moment to make the call, but you have to have this figured out in advance.
Yeah.
But that's actually perfect. Okay, so sorry to take that detour, but yeah, I think that was a really
We go as quickly as
good
possible as we can
exercise.
to get the point. We want to reverse this.
I say
We're...
floats.
Yeah, floats. Either way.
Other
We
thing,
wanna
yeah,
play
watch
this
like
so
antis
that
too, right?
we
So
look
hold
like we're the
matrix.
defenders, right?
Yeah, blade. Yeah, blade.
Is that a square?
Oh, pancake? Oh, no, he didn't bomb. Never mind. It looks more like a circle than a square.
And so then yeah, so actually, then I'll just make sure we focus on positioning here. Yeah, so I think even still in that situation, like when you're at the choke like that, I think you want to hang back a little bit more. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
be,
You don't
you at
want to
least
push
want to
out
be
so
checking
far.
or having someone else check to scout for you, and like just hang back, like
Yeah.
because especially against a Genji, like you just don't want to give him resets.
I think our biggest problem with this point is that we were getting, like, 3 or 4 of us were getting anti every fight.
Yeah, and so
Like, if you look there, like, me, Pancake, and Taz all got purple.
yeah, right here. Yeah, and so I think like, the call should come from you to Pancake to be scouting for the Ana
Yeah.
and holding and like preparing Matrix and like literally just reserving Matrix for that. I think actually Anna's fuck up our team like consistently. Like we actually get
Yeah.
destroyed by anti-nades because like we never eat them. Jin, do you think
I
that's
think
something?
we need to like figure out some kind of drill or something for Pancake with eating nades.
I mean, that would be very easy to set up. I can do that. Jin, is it a reasonable expectation to ask your diva to eat most of nades when you first engage? Maybe not mid-fight, but like
When
as
you
you're
first
engaging?
engaged, like right there, that should have been like Matrix shouldn't have even been used really.
Yeah. But Jin, do you feel like you could catch that?
You have to be prepared for it. Usually I don't do it on reaction. I usually
Right.
know like when Anna's like to nade, and then I flash it.
Okay.
But I don't think you guys usually just play against goats, so it doesn't happen that much anymore.
But I'm seeing
You
I mean,
guys
I
like
Anna's
think the
wait
getting
for
more
meta
and
it
more and
kind of
more.
dives.
yeah, I was gonna say Ana's kind of leading towards becoming more played.
Yeah, but with the DM nerf, it's kind of hard to do because you want to save your DM for first engages.
Yeah.
So it really is just knowing the comps of what they're running,
Like you're
and then
saying
like
like what
changing
else
your
you'd be
playstyle.
needing it for?
Well, because usually dive, you save your DM bar for when everyone goes in.
Right.
And since Anna has been like out of meta for so long, I'm not surprised that he doesn't have that muscle memory anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, but yeah, maybe it's something we can talk to him about though. Yeah, we can do a drill for it. I just think on Anubis when you're going in, it's like you're most likely going to be the one who gets dove when you're both running dive.
Yeah.
And so it's like you kind of I feel like here it would kind of make sense to hold Matrix at least in the beginning. Good lord.
Yeah.
And so the nice thing is sort of like when you sort of come up with that plan, like it doesn't really take that much extra brain power to update it, right? Because it's like, I mean, unless they make a swap, it's really not going to change like where we want to be, where we think they're going to engage, like all of those details.
Yeah.
So like it just takes a little bit of like focus in the beginning, and then you just kind of want to keep that picture in your head and just keep updating it with like the alts.
Hmm.
Pancake. He's like, oh yeah, we talked to him, and then they rush left side, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we get punished super hard for this. Oh no, never mind. Okay, they rushed right.
We didn't even want him here. Wanted him at the bridge.
I think I get shot by a widow or some shit here.
Honestly, well, but Jin, I honestly think he should be like in this room here, like somewhere in between, just because when we set. Oh, we were in double sniper here. Okay, that changes things. But like, if let's say we were running Far Widow, like,
Oh yeah, because we were talking about that. It's like, oh well, I doubt they're gonna run goats because they've been running not goats the
right,
entire time, and then they run goats.
yeah, but it's like even if they, yeah, yeah, we can talk about it later. But it's like so Widow's usually there, Jin. So like I'm thinking, like if Genji's running the flank route, we want our diva to be ready to get there or to peel for our Zen. And so
Yeah.
being at a neutral place in this room allows her to get to like the stairs here,
Alright,
and also peel back.
just have her on the bridge.
Hmm?
Just have her on the bridge here. Why would you ever want Diva over here? That makes no sense.
So they pressure diva as they come in.
You have the stairs here to take cover. You have Winston here. If they try to go here,
So she baits
Diva
back, takes
flies
high
here.
ground with Zen if they pressure
If,
straight on
so-
point.
if something happens here, Winston jumps down. Diva can just go here too.
Okay, that's fine.
Just
Yeah,
sit on the bridge.
bridge is fine. Yeah. Yeah, I like it more just also because it allows like scouting.
Oh god.
Okay, so
Aim.exe, Pepe hands. I literally missed every shot there. It's just unfortunate.
you shouldn't be thinking about the aim here though.
Yeah, I think we had to jump to contest there though,
Yeah, but why you?
cause it was only me and Naga.
Eh,
What?
Honestly, well, no, but isn't your
Oh, Pancake was still there.
yeah.
Okay.
And you also
Yeah,
have
that was
other
bad
like
then.
literally you should be the last one.
Okay.
I mean, that's not to say would have changed the outcome, but just as a general principle,
Yeah, we probably could have stalled a little bit longer.
potentially. Maybe get a little bit closer to trance.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're anticipating for them to jump on you, so you're rotating right side. I think that's fine. So, what's your rationale for playing back here rather than like the right side of point now that we know that they're sort of committing to that like left corner?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, well I want you to be actively thinking about that. Cause like I think for Zen and Ana especially, like and I mean you could probably say the same thing about Baptiste, I don't really know though. Like you want to be thinking it's like can I do this same job but more safely elsewhere? And if the answer is yes,
Okay.
then you should always be going there.
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. And so yeah, this is one of the risks, of
Yeah, I
course.
meant to pop trans there, and then she bashed me.
But even still, like we could, like we could have gotten more value out of that elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think from watching our games, you tend to get picked a lot when you have like your ult.
Yeah.
Because
That
you're
or like
planning on
hacked or
using it
something.
defensively.
Yeah, probably.
We really want to try and control our defensive. Like our defensive ults are literally the most important thing in every team fight. Like
Yeah.
if we somehow had two support ults in every team fight, like it's very obvious we would win, right?
Hmm.
And when you guys get caught out of position, it forces us to get way less value out of them, and they get to force us to use our ults on their terms.
And to me, that positioning tells me that you want to take duels and get a pick rather than like thinking ahead about the team fight, to be honest.
Hmm.
Yeah, actually, so Aves, like when you're thinking about how you're playing Zen, are you thinking of like what are some ways I can deal damage, or like do you feel like you're more defensively minded?
I think I'm more offensively minded.
Okay. Well, so then I would maybe put it this way. Um, just think about, especially on Ana and Zen, for the most part, both of those heroes are pretty god awful at range, or I'm sorry, at close range battle.
Hmm.
Really good at range. And so the goal should always be putting the most distance between your enemies, and that includes potential flankers at all times. Like you want A, open space, and
Okay.
B, distance.
Hmm.
Your goal should always be to take a position that maximizes those two things. And so I'm thinking like right side, even like if you're on right side, it's also sort of a flank. Uh you have the safety of going to spawn if they somehow manage to get through the team, but really our team should be sort of backing you up and fighting from that back right corner if you take that side. But
Okay.
you know, you should call that for the team if you take a rotation. This is one of the reasons why it makes the most sense for you to be shot calling because you're in one of the most uh like the positioning and status of your Zen dictates so much about what your team should be doing.
Mhm.
So you know, you're in the position to sort of call rotations, all of those things based on where you are, but your goal should always be just, you know, like applying pressure as safely as possible. And then you want to go to the team with trance. You never want to have to trance where you are. Okay, so I don't know if we really got a full VOD there. It was so quick. Let's take a look at the Lucio now. But because I honestly don't know if there's really much more Zen in these VODs. Okay, let me. Okay, I have a new link right here. Let me know when you guys have access to it.
Syncing the video. All right, I'm good.
Okay, are you in, Jin?
Hmm. Need to refresh, I think. I'm in, but it's not showing anything. Yeah. Should be good.
Cool. Okay, so Lucio, of course, a little bit different because, you know, I think there's the opportunity to get a lot of value by taking more aggressive positions, and you know, you explicitly get value by being close to your enemy. It's not quite like Zen because, like, I honestly think positioning on Zen and Ana is pretty easy once you maintain like defensive fundamentals. It's like
Mhm.
very like, and I mean easy in the sense that like you can figure a lot of it out just by planning well. But like
Yeah.
Lucio, I, I have much less of a sense of like where Lucio's should be and sort of like where's a safe place for Lucio while he still gets value as opposed to like um, an unnecessarily risky position. I mean, I still think I have the fundamentals of it down, but like the details I think are a little bit harder. So I don't think Dark is here, but actually, like, I think the next time we look at this, or we may want to have her look at this separately to give some advice.
This part actually bothered me so much.
Yeah, what's happening here? You're trying to get
Team's
up, right?
already engaged.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Like, literally could have just used the jump pad and been there faster.
I th I'm just trying to think, like, how did we? Okay, okay. So luckily the engagement hasn't started, so the amp usage wasn't punished there. But still, I think you
I think
constantly
the
want to.
whole idea about with that was that I was trying to get up there, but like without peeking all of that shit that's going on over there.
But
But
like,
I was fucking up the wall, right?
but don't forget you got this guy here,
There, it's
and
still
there's a cliff
fucking.
on that side. Like they have movement abilities, but like at the same time, like if their ball just grappled and tried to slam, like I mean, you can potentially just kill, like get a free kill there. Um,
Yeah.
and also like we know they have a soldier at this point. Like how's he gonna like where does he get value and how does he get to that place where he gets
High
value.
ground through
Yeah.
the bounce pad.
Yeah. So he's gonna be coast. And so I'm not saying you should be there because of the boop. I'm saying uh like the peel that you provide for your team and just like the general utility that you have, like you're better off just not wall riding.
Yeah.
And just being in the center of the team as opposed to this.
Okay.
Just because like you don't have to worry so much about being targeted and focused fire quite in the same way that Zen does. So it's like you can sort of be in the, you can be in the middle of things and still be much safer than Zen.
Also, I kind of just ignore that Sombra.
I mean, even still, yeah, like the real issue is just that.
I got the Mercy though.
Yeah, that was kind of. I mean, we at this point we kind of already won the fight, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh yeah. I was literally screaming soldier there.
okay. I can't believe he let you
Yeah, I
just
know.
kill him.
He didn't even look at me.
That was crazy. I think he thought the whole team was on him or something.
I guess.
A soldier should win that 1v1. Like
Yeah,
I'd say at the
I
level we're
agree.
playing at, probably 10 out of 10 times. So you got to be careful. He might have had Helix down or something. Helix in health
You were
station
expecting in a whole team, but it was me, the Lucia.
the whole time. Uh, okay, you're kind of just in the center here. That's fine. I don't understand. Okay, so you're trying to get the team out, but I feel like that's a bit of an early amp here.
I think Chase dies there. Oh no, he lived.
Yeah, he's low.
And that was just me trying to get Pancake out.
And I mean, and you're farming beat. I don't for beat usage stuff. I think I'm probably like not the right person to be asking, or for amp usage stuff, I'm probably not the right person to be like giving you.
I think I have a general idea. Oh
I
Jesus.
think I think well, I'm just thinking in this specific case, it's probably more important that you have beat than you have amp because like we know
Yeah.
that they're rolling up on alts. Okay, so we had like a let's set up an EMP play and then they just did a play on top of it, right? They like yeah they Valk played in. We took too long.
Killed the soldier at the barrage. And it's kind of even there.
I don't think he should have died there.
Yeah, and then they rest. Yeah, I don't know how I died there.
You were
So
just sitting there.
when you have beat, you need to position differently, especially based on what they have. I mean, obviously they've got a bajillion DPS that you have to worry about, but what's the thing you're really worried about here?
Oh, he visored. Okay. That's how I did. Wait, no, he didn't visor. What the fuck?
No.
How did I die so quickly?
You're the easiest target. You made yourself the easiest target.
Did Genji go through him? I can't see the.
I can't tell either. I just don't know how he clipped me down so fast.
No, it
Yeah.
looks like you got hit by like a helix or something, or maybe
There's
a
Genji
rocket.
on top
I
of
don't even
him,
think he right clicked me though.
Yeah, Genji is on top of you,
and
Okay.
then soldiers
That
shooting
makes a
at
little
you.
bit more sense.
but the health doesn't go down by like one. What is it? It's
I
like
like
should be
I like
170.
jumped to 80 and then he like kind of taps me down from there.
Yeah, the Genji almost for sure hit you with something, and then it could
Okay.
have just been chip by helix and ferro rocket damage. But either way, yeah, you're kind
You,
of like
you shouldn't be there. Like,
yeah,
they're rolling up on ults. You know that they have EMP Blade, because I'm pretty sure Dark calls it. And you're in the middle of the team.
Yeah.
with beat, that's like asking to die.
Yeah, that's kind of so it's like, and sometimes like if you feel like uh you don't know where you should be, just think about again, it's like same thing as sort of what, and this is sort of like all of this shot calling stuff that we've been talking about, this will help you with your positioning, like
Yeah.
hugely, because we know they have EMP. Like she's like, what's the one thing that fucks her plan up? It's like your beat, right? Like,
Hmm.
and so if you isolate yourself and force her, it's the same thing that we talked about in the very beginning, like force her to EMP just you, so that if they EMP your team, you can hopefully get a beat off in time that means something.
Yeah. I need to get better about my positioning with EMPs, because like I feel half the time I try to go and hide so that she has to come get me. She either just like hack clips me or like she hits me and the team at the same time.
The team needs to be close to you. Like you need to be telling them
Yeah.
to position. Like you guys need to pick a place where you can get to them and they can get to you. Because
Okay.
yeah, I actually remember. I can't remember where that was. I think it was like Eichenwald defense first or something, where like Asambra basically just one clipped you because you were hiding from EMP and like we didn't have any defenses for you.
Yeah, and then they just run out and then EMP the team anyways.
Yeah. So wait a sec. So you get back, and this is effectively last fight. Why are you in right now? Oh, because we're holding. Because we're holding. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
we're just stalling. Okay, that's okay. I mean, I think you probably want to stall like.
I think with Lucio it's reasonable.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out like where's the most effective place for you to be stalling. I think like okay, so you go in here. That's fine.
I was hacked there,
Yeah. There's
so
a yeah, so you can't wall ride.
yeah, I literally just got hacked and then EMP'd. So
Just trying to think like
From what Pickle says, usually you want to be like at the outskirts and then ride in and out.
I couldn't really ride though.
Well,
are
you
we
want to make
talking
yourself,
like touch to reset the timer every time?
yeah,
I think that's yeah,
Okay,
I think that's actually the best option. Like
or
leave,
even
come
like,
back to touch.
that makes sense.
yeah, even like just from here, you like go in, touch, and then get out here, or
Yeah.
else,
Loop back on the
like the
outside
wall
and come back
here,
in. Yeah.
where you just keep going in and out, and then that builds up time. And like they get some progress, but you keep stalling it, and then
Yeah. And they're also less likely to like fully commit to you. Like the focus fire for them is going to be a lot harder because they literally have to go off point to chase you.
Hmm.
And so if they
yeah,
chase you, you can just weave back on faster than them because you're Lucio and retouch, and now they have less people to focus fire you. So then you can do the whole thing over again, but you're now in a better position. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's sort of yeah, Lucio specific, but definitely something that we should try to start incorporating. Let me get it to 99. Tads was in there for like so long before they killed her. So then when in this position, it's like you want to be thinking about the ults they have, how we get in, how we do our stuff, what we have to worry about.
yeah,
But at this point, really, it's just all the only thing you really have to think about are ults. That's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, the speed was nice. Yeah, just follow next time. I think you just need to be with your Winston.
okay,
Even regardless of the timer and the progress on the point, like you kind of just want to be getting him to where he wants to go and because of the most important thing is that you just want him to be able to get out.
hmm,
Also, a major part of Lucio is peeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with this comp, it's like we don't really get to see a lot of opportunities for it, but we might, because I think that the compositions where like our Lucio peels more is
More
I mean, there's always
goats
going
and
to be a
stuff.
role for it, even on like if you peeling for tanks, like all kinds of stuff. But like, uh, you know, we're typically thinking of like low HP counterparts, like like peel for your Zen, peel for your Ana.
Well, it's just in case
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
their Sombra hacks somebody. You should be looking out for that.
Hmm.
Yeah, like as Lucio, I think like you kind of want to be like it's like a more proactive version of Zen, where like instead of discording a prime target, you see someone who's out of position, or like they call someone who's out of position, and you speed onto them. Like you want to be bringing the team to stuff, and you can also still be calling for that. Oof. Okay, so when you're 100 HP and you like when you're 100 HP and you're Zen, I don't want you standing in a choke.
Okay. What happens here?
So we don't have a diva because we're running May goats,
Oh, did
and
we just get fire striked?
you get fire struck here, I think.
Yeah.
So
Oh
yeah,
no,
so
I
you
get
got
hit by something else.
yeah, but like that's just chip.
Yeah,
Chip
so
is always
even
gonna
then.
hit you, but it's the fire strike really. It's the fire strike that's avoidable, I should say.
Okay.
Like if you
Also
have
think
enough,
you should. I also think you should minimize chip damage. Like
yeah.
a huge part of tanks is just getting chipped down, and I don't know. I don't like it. I think like better tanks don't get chipped down as hard,
That
and I kind of feel like everyone has that habit, but and should like be mindful of not getting chipped.
I was actually gonna. It's something I was gonna mention in the first map of the OD match from yesterday in the VOD review like that I want to go over for tonight. It's like this. I actually wanted to talk to Chigs about it. But yeah, that's true. So also something to keep in mind. Well, actually, it's too hard to say here. Um, Actually, I'll evaluate it on the next fight here. If I'm you, I am waiting because the fight is basically over. Like we're down people and it's goats v goats, so like the likelihood for comeback is very small. Like literally, I'm waiting here if I'm you.
Oh man, Toots the ice cream man's here.
Are you gonna get yourself a catcher's mitt with a gumball in it or something? Let me see how this happens. Sweet Jesus, that was a Zen, yeah. Yeah, I mean this is sort of speaking to the yeah, so
Yeah, that was just me getting unlucky, I think.
well, you shouldn't
That or like
Unlucky.
playing sight lines that I shouldn't have been playing.
well, no, you should have been backing up sooner. Like when I was telling you that point,
Okay.
like when I was like I would be waiting here, like at that mega, like I'd be waiting literally here. And as soon as the kill on Chigs happens, I'm backing up because how the hell is that fight gonna get like how are we gonna win that fight?
Yeah.
And the biggest issue with Zen is that like when they want to kill you, you need to be 100 you need to be able to be instantly 100% safe and you can't be
Hmm.
from here. And so like this additional move forward is what gets you killed here.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. And then they just come in right quick me. Yeah.
Hmm. And so again, this is sort of boiling down again to us sort of wanting more conservative positioning. Avoidable fire strike, you should, I mean, so like something as Zen especially is, and this is sort of speaking to what Jin was talking about, is like minimizing chip. Like you got to think about, I don't know, for me, like the way I play Overwatch is like super read heavy. Like I'm always trying to like think of what they want to do. And so it's
Yeah.
like when I see a bunch of us standing at a choke, I'm like, I'm gonna get fire struck for sure. And so like as a Zen, you should always be thinking about that too, because if you can avoid getting cut down to half health instantly, I mean, you should definitely try.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
actually want you playing corners like way more.
hmm
Like this is kind of a good spot, like where you're thinking already over here, and I want you to like hug this corner. And then every time you want to peek out, you just have to peek a little bit. Like
Mhm.
just peek out over here. Like a third of your screen should still have the wall.
Okay.
And then you like peek out, you have Discord, so you know where their enemy is, right? If you
Mhm.
have a Discord on the enemy, it's going to mark it for you. And then you just put your crosshair there and you snipe them. And then you go back in.
Okay.
And that's what you should be constantly doing.
hmm
Because right now you're like going all the way out into the middle and then all the way into this corner and then all the way here and all the way there. But you really don't need to peek out that far.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question that you just, yeah, we mentioned it before. Like the question is, can I get value more safely? And this is a perfect way to be doing that. Yeah, and see, so we're kind of opening ourselves up. Oh Lord. So Chigs goes down first here, right? Yeah. Okay, as soon as your Reinhardt's down, you're backing up. Like you need to instantly be backing up. Well, oh, we're
I
going in.
think.
You're going in because you're resetting. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's no, that was a good play. If anything, I think you just want to go deeper, like even sooner. Once we make that once we make that decision, just fucking get on the Reinhardt, chunk him.
I'm not entirely sure because Tad's was pretty close. And you guys can like, if fast enough, you guys can call for disengages.
They have a Lucio too,
Yeah,
but
but they're
no
most
Rein.
likely amping in, right? You guys are waiting on your amp.
I but their diva might have boosters. I don't like that call. I think that's too like if you know 100% for sure that you can get out, like yes, but I don't really see the chances of him getting out. I see a worse stagger happening like 90% of the time. I think it's a judgment call, but I definitely would be on the more conservative side there. Oh,
Mm.
so
I
we
think
had
that
a
was just late.
we had a late, did we have a late beat or was the beat well timed? I have to,
We're not getting
No,
into
the beat was used. I transed after and they died to bomb. I
okay.
transed for sustain and then bomb killed too. And that's how we lost.
Yeah, I think
The beat was too early.
Ryan discorded.
yeah, it was a little, yeah, it was a little too early.
Are frozen? Are frozen?
Transing. Wit.
Please beat there.
I also think just holding it too is an option. Like, I mean, but that's a team call that happens before the fight. I mean, I think yeah, if you're gonna use beat, you should definitely use trans because you're not gonna live through that any other way.
Yeah, and then we just get shattered there because Chigs got pulled out or something.
You're in a really bad spot right now. And I'm trying to. I think it's a little bit of what Chigs is doing and a little bit of what you're doing here. Because he's sort of opening, like, he's basically reopening the choke to
Yeah.
damage. If you hug. If you hug either corner, you risk getting left behind and they just close in on your team, but it's probably okay. It's actually probably okay because of all the ults you guys have.
I'm going to assume the call is to go high ground
Let's see. I don't think so.
and then swing around,
Right side.
because that would be my
We need to grab
only.
Blizzard.
Go right side of point.
Just from their
Stop red
positioning,
shit.
that's what I would think.
Ramming
Oh yeah,
Like their
top
plan
right.
would be.
Naga makes the call.
Just head with yourself, head with
Yeah, and then
Go right side, go.
I guess a little late on the rotation, because
Yeah.
everyone should just be together.
And Chigs is a little bit ahead too, which opens that choke up.
Grabbing.
Yeah, I think that's just something that we're gonna have to get better at as a team with rotating.
I think that's me just trying to fix my sensitivity.
So what's your goal here? What are you trying to do?
I'd say just kind of play passive and wait for my things to engage.
And what do you feel like your responsibilities are in this composition?
Kind of just helping keep Chigs and Pancake up,
Okay.
because Taz's ideal plan is just to stay on Naga the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, that's good. I think that's the focus we want you to be having. So sort of so the position here, I think it's difficult to follow up on any early opportunities
Okay.
from here. I think so I think like sort of we're thinking maybe riskier lines of play while riding here, try to boop Orion further in or just boop somebody further in. You're also in a position there to speed boost your Winston and get them in a little bit closer. But I think if your Winston is taking aggressive position, you also sort of want to be in an aggressive position as
Aggressive
well.
position.
Yeah. Yeah, and okay, I think I feel like you sense like you're not getting enough value. You try and take the high ground.
Yeah, and then they just. Oh, that's actually a big boop. Holy shit.
Yeah, it saved you for
What boop?
sure.
Yeah, it booped like 3 of them off of me.
Well, but at the same time, you kind
Yeah.
of gave them the opportunity to chase you. Like,
What did I?
Why did you drop?
Yeah.
I think because he saw Chigs on the ground and wanted to like support him or something. But like
That or I slipped off there.
maybe, but I feel like you lost Chigs at some point here.
Yeah. I think that or seeing
Like here.
Chigs like jump up, like he kind of jumped he jumped up, but I don't think he jumped off. Cause like if you look, yeah, he
Yeah, and
jumps back up
he jumps
after.
back up, and then yeah, I think you're going down to go with him.
Yeah.
I think as long as he's not critical, I don't think you'd have to be like exposing yourself to the exact same amount of risk as he is. But
Okay.
as long as you're there just for to drop and boop if you need to. I think is good. And then, you know, like if you're on high ground, then, you know, you have the option of like wrapping around pillar, booping somebody in, or booping somebody back, and then we can just, you know, re-engage on somebody. But we're already losing tempo in this fight, just looking at like the HP pools of people. This is, yeah, this is scary. Boop is the only thing that saved you here. Yeah, you got lucky.
Yeah, and then their D.Va hit me off high ground, I think.
Yeah, so you take a shitload of damage when you're getting out.
Yeah, that's 120. And then what hits me off?
So I'm just wondering here. Look, so another like Lucio does decent damage, and I just feel like we're not like you're not putting enough in here. Because I think, you know, it's like we have Pharah, we have Sombra, but Sombra sometimes doing her own thing, so it's kind of like Pharah hoping that she hits and doesn't get matrixed or blocked by shields, and then it's just Winston and D.Va. So like Lucio damage, I think ends up being pretty non-trivial in this composition. Like I think I want you to focus on dealing damage here. And
Hmm.
yeah, the
D.Va hits me off.
I kind of want you to focus on maintaining high ground because look at your comp. Look at their comp. How like
Yeah,
how do they
I think that's
how
almost
do
better.
you want to
yeah, I mean
play
our
this?
whole composition should be high ground.
Yeah. So your whole composition wants to be high ground. That is true. So what do they want? They want you to come down or they have to push up, right?
Hmm.
The only thing that can really harass up top is D.Va. So your job should be to boop D.Va off high ground. Like maintain high ground, boop them off so they can't harass your team. If they wrap around, you know, but you just speed boost and then you rotate around them.
But again, this is sort of more sort of lining up with what we think of as your shot calling role is, right? Because like this requires an understanding of the terrain, the map terrain, and then the composition matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what we mean sort of like by using that to guide your basic game plan. Because this is what we're talking about by neutral, right? Nobody has an ult here. And so we're
Yeah.
not trying to plan or react or engage with an ult. We're just saying, okay, well, what are our natural advantages with this composition and given this map layout? And everything builds around that.
And to go off of what Toot said earlier, like you're going to be doing way more damage up on the high ground
Hmm.
just because you're going to be like shooting them right here and there's nothing they can do about it. Like literally nothing. But
Yep.
every time you go down, you're taking damage and then you like have to run away and you have to escape like they're here, right?
Hmm.
And that's time like you could be spent just shooting them just sitting here.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then yeah, the D.Va
Yeah, the D.Va just
pushes
hits
you
me
high
off.
ground. And yeah, this is, yeah, so it's partially a team thing. I mean, I think like I'm just trying to think like suboptimal play, like second best solution, or what is it? Yeah, first best is to have the team playing high ground, play high ground with the team. Second best is to still be with the tanks. Low ground. I mean you can still sit high ground if it's safe, but I mean like it's as long like the goal is always for Lucio to be providing value to the tanks. So as long as you can do that from high ground, then you can stay high ground. But otherwise, you got to drop. Speed here. If our team is backing up, Speed 100% here.
Yeah.
And then we have the option of like just speeding back or re-engaging with heal amp. And what the fuck
I
are
don't
we
like
on?
how I pushed out there. That's not good. Yeah,
Oh
that was way
yeah,
too
yeah.
aggressive.
Very, very risky.
I don't see
Yeah,
any reason to there either.
right. And it's like, yeah, like, okay, maybe you don't die, but it's like yeah, and this, yeah, so like even taking the 1v1 here is dangerous. Like when like here is dangerous because they're like right here still. And it is still like you are still super killable. Like they fucked up their calls by not killing you here.
Yeah.
I guess their diva gets desuited, and I don't know, maybe they're on the back foot, but they look like they're in a better position. And the worst part here, so Chigs doesn't follow because he knows if he goes out here, like they're gonna focus him down and like block him off from getting back. And so,
Also,
mhm,
Lucio here can poop.
yeah,
So he has to like use the jump to get back up, and then he's like screwed.
yeah, it's very clearly like that's definitely what he's doing here. We can see this when we have like X-ray vision, but like whenever Lucio goes around a corner like this, like
Yeah, it's kind of obvious. I figured when I pushed in there that I would be able to get back because of the how far back that area is.
the most important thing here that I want to emphasize is that your team needs you to be near them right now. For whatever reason, even if they're not low, then they should always be sped. But this is a huge sacrifice.
Do I follow him in? Oh no.
We partially re-engage. Were we not down? I thought we were down this whole time.
And then I beat it there to keep Chigs up.
It was actually really good timing on your part. That was a nice beat, actually.
Right here. I'll be back in like a minute.
Okay.
So how's it going, dates?
Good, good. I've been enjoying the shit out of Captain Falcon lately in Melee.
Yeah.
I I feel like I'm better with him than I am with Fox at this point. So he's like actually my true secondary. And he's just fun. Like I'm getting better at like fast fall all canceling moves, and like when I feel like that actually unlocks a lot of like a lot more potential for Falcon, because if you don't do that, you just fucking hang in the air forever and get destroyed.
I think aerial control is one of Falcon's best tools.
Right, right. You're talking about playing him to master drift.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were talking about like overshoot and like why that makes him good against Marth, you're talking about like so like an example that I can think of is like just like fucking sprinting past a Marth, short hop burying them from like behind them. Is that the kind of stuff you're
Thinking,
talking about?
I was mostly thinking Nairs because his jump is just like goes so far,
Hmm.
and like his Nair stays out so long. So you can like cover Marth's whole dash dance with just that one move. That's why he's so good
Okay.
against Marth.
And I guess running past, like you don't really run past good Marths.
Yeah, you kind of just want to like just cover the entire length of his dash dance.
Okay. But the shore hopping through them and bearing from behind, I feel like is a thing.
I'm sure it is.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm back.
I was like, oh, this is overshooting. Like I apparently not, but I thought I'd found the magic answer there. Okay, sorry.
I think like soft bear, right? And then
Yeah.
just like air wobble him
Well,
from
yeah,
there.
even like yeah, up air is just fucking a bonkers move.
What character?
Falcon.
Oh.
You
I
would
mean,
say that. You would say that, Aves. But you main, I don't know. Who
it's
would
probably a puff player. Aves is a
I
puff
was
player.
gonna
Ew.
say Puff.
Why would I play Puff?
Who do you play?
I don't really play melee, but when
Who
I did,
would you play?
I played Roy and Marth.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
It's kind of gross.
Jin is a Marth main.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you're also a Worth man.
Bunch of Marth mains in here. All right.
I play more Smash Ultimate than I do melee.
Yeah, I think most people do now.
Like
That's fair.
I was playing earlier.
Hmm.
Sorry for the loud crushing noises, and I try to
It's
compress water bottles before I throw them away.
it's not a problem.
I think you
With your
want to be on
tanks,
speed.
good. You should be on speed right now, not heals. Good.
You should be on speed right
Thank you, Vod A's.
Uh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, ideally, I think that's how we. Oh, okay. Okay. So you walked into
Good
a hammer
idea.
swing.
Uh,
Ye
yeah,
you were
good idea.
thinking boop somebody off the ledge, right?
now. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. I think against I think against goats, you kind of want to be sort of on the periphery of the fight still. Like I know it's like definitely you want to be more towards the center than Zen is, but it's still in between sort of Zen and the tanks that you want to be with Lucio, unless you're setting up a very specific play. Just, I mean, not only because like obviously the Rhine's hammer is based on proximity, but the other thing is like you got to worry about lockdown from Brig. And yeah, even if you did get through that door, I think you would have died. So, I'm sorry, let me be more constructive with this. I feel like when you get, okay, so first of all, you're past, like, even when you were past the Brig, like, you gotta worry. Like, so the Brig is right there. She's right behind you. The whole team is kind of surrounding you, but like they're on the defensive, so it's like kind of okay to be here. Um, Something you want to think about as Lucio is maintaining a position where they can't do anything to you, right? And so like if you're like wall ride, what about just wall riding around this pillar
Yeah, that could work.
above them?
Because then the Diva would have to boosters to me or something.
Yeah, and she's not thinking about you right now. Like you can just be completely uncontested. The Lucio's probably the only one who's looking for you because that's just kind of what people do. They look for their counterpart. And so like he'd probably be the only one trying to deny you value, but I would take a one-on-one with a Lucio rather than like 1v4 a goats comp any day. But yeah, I think if you're not looking again, if you're not looking to set up a specific boop play, and I think booping off the ledge here is not worth. Like if your team is in this deep to begin with, chances are you're already winning the fight. So the boop would kind of like it wouldn't really buy you that much, and I think the risk is a little too high here to make it worth it. Because it's like you guys have the point, like you just want to deny this space to them, right? Because it's like if they have to, I mean, they have to reset here regardless, just based on their positioning. And we're really kind of just trying to bait them in for like one of these ults. So like we really never need to extend onto this side unless like, we have a clear advantage and we're just cleaning up here. I mean, we're going in on the Rhine, but to get to the Rhine, you have to expose yourself to just an assload of risk. It's just not worth. That was we did that combo like really early. Yeah, before people were back yet. And so then that means Chigs is jumping onto point without leap. They have an ulting Brig and Zen and Lucio. So they're going to be super fucking aggressive. And yeah, we lose 2 people off the bat. We get Chigs back up. Yeah, and again, I think whenever there's a, like, I mean, I think you kind of want to avoid Brig at all costs in general. Because she's like, I think the one character that can just flat out lock down a Lucio. And I think I think staying on that pillar, like, would have been totally fine. Like, just up higher. Oh, and away from the Brig. Or maybe one of the out, like, that wall up there, but the fight is probably going to draw you in closer. But even still, I think a little farther back on the ground would have been fine. Just as long as you're not right in the middle, because all of their all of their heroes now get value out of proximity to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're kind of just putting yourself in harm's way, like with this positioning.
Yeah,
Like,
it kind of fucked up the wall right there, and the Brig just killed me.
okay, so while you're here, actually, I think you probably want to be like trying to deal some poke.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of what's happening here is that like you're so uncomfortable on Lucio that like it's taking a lot of effort to make sure you're getting the wall riding right, that you're
Yeah.
not shooting. Um,
Does he have a setting on?
the
Backward
wall ride
forward.
backwards.
Yes, I have this setting on Jim.
Yeah, I think I saw him do it a couple times. So actually I think at this point what I would recommend is that you try and get in some more Lucio time. I mean, I know it's not like your
Yeah.
primary role, but just on maps like this where we run the Fair Lucio, I think it would be good that you.
Yeah. I've been trying
Yeah.
to play him more on attack, which is just better.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I think it's my third most played or some shit right now.
Good. But yeah, like Lucio deals a substantial damage.
Decent amount of damage, yeah.
Yeah, and like you want to be taking. This was, I remember this. That made me so sad. And and they contested and they took it. Did they take it back from us? I want to say they did. I don't remember though.
Oh yeah, where we all push up and then we just fucking lost.
Yeah. That was that was just a poor judgment thing. Okay, so yeah, yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Like if
Oh
your
yeah,
tanks
this
decide they
soldier
want
just
to do
shit
that,
on me.
yeah, you just want to speed them up.
Yeah, that was a bad play myself. My way. Like I didn't. Not only did I choose to not go to point, I tried to 1v1 a soldier.
Yeah, I was gonna say like yeah, you really want to be just trying to soften up point here.
Yeah, I remember going like, why did I do that after I did it?
Yeah. Okay. So all right, so based on the stuff that we like the couple maps that we looked at, what do you feel like, so for Zen, what do you feel like the takeaway points are
I need to
from
pay
this?
attention more to where I'm positioning myself.
Okay, and so what specifically is your goal then for changing positioning?
Try to be more wary about where the Sombra is and countering EMP.
Okay. This is Zen we're talking about? Okay. What
That can
else?
just be general because it's both technically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I need to play more defensively when I have trans,
Okay.
and so trying to get that like the pick mentality, like kill someone then trans them or whatever. Just like
Mm-hmm.
play more defensively, wait for them to come to us.
Yeah. What else?
Um, I guess like playing corners better instead of like going corner to corner, just trying to stay one and play more passive.
Yeah, I think honestly, like we want you to play more conservatively or defensively on Zen in general, regardless of whether
Yeah.
or not you have trance. Remember the question, can I do the same thing more safely?
Mm.
Okay. And so then what about Lucio? What do you feel like your like takeaway points are from the stuff we looked at?
Again, just play more conservatively when I have ult.
Mm-hmm. What about
That and
like
then try to keep control of the high ground.
okay, yeah. Yeah, so you're thinking about like maintaining the T. What about like when you're in a fight, what do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Is Lucio?
With my team, like in the middle of the team.
Okay, so yeah, so you want to be with your team. What's the other thing we talked about too when you have the option that keeps Lucio safe?
Um,
I think you want to like if you want to be like in a fight, I think you want to whenever you can take like wall ride while you're doing it
yeah, okay.
above the enemy because I think that's why Lucio's live so damn long, especially in goats because like
They're a pain in the ass to hit.
they just literally avoid the range of most of the damage. So yeah, so that's I think that those are good notes for us to start with. And we can sort of revisit this down the road a little bit. But Jin, is there anything else you had to add to that?
Yeah, when like I know you want to play an aggressive type of style, but defense will actually help you become more offensive, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if you've ever heard this phrase, um, but a, actually, a good defense is a good offense is not a phrase. It's the opposite. But so maybe you might not have heard that phrase, but it's definitely true for Zen. Um,
Mhm.
just when you maximize that space, the distance, like it's the same. Like I was saying, it's the same thing with snipers. Like the more distance you put between, the more time you have to burn them down. Was there anything else, Jin? Sorry to interrupt.
I feel like another good line for Fling Zenyatta is actually one of his quotes. It's just overconfidence is a flimsy shield.
Yes. Also, Zen's flimsy shield is also a flimsy shield. Uh, was there anything else, Jin?
Hmm. No, just to add like to that a little bit, Zen does have the regenning shields, and they start regenning
Yes.
after.
I think it's 2 or 3 seconds. This one is two.
Two. It should be two.
I actually think it's 3 seconds of no damage.
What?
So just like keep that in mind.
Mhm.
Well, just to be on the safe side, just say 3. Yeah. and that like just increases your HP pool by that much
Hmm.
more.
Looking it up now. Uh, 'Still looking, still looking.
How long does it take for Zenyatta's shield to regen? Overwatch.
Three seconds, yeah.
I like how there's a general tip section on the wiki.
Written by Jeff Kaplan. Okay, yeah, so yeah, 3 seconds. Okay. So then yeah, I'll see you guys in an hour, I guess.
Alright. Thank you, Tits. Thank you, June.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Take care.
Jin, you're stinky. Go take a shower.
Wow. Okay, bye. Okay, so thank you for watching. We just ended the VOD review, but we talked a lot about like shot calling, a lot about positioning with our flex support and shot caller Aves. So please go back and watch that if you guys are interested. Also, Beast, what is up? Long time no see. Um, I am going to be back in an hour. We're going to be looking at a VOD from the team's last OD match, and it's going to be like first person perspective, but we're going to be talking a lot about team stuff. It was kind of a train wreck of a match for us. It was kind of a train wreck of a match for us, but God, I hope I wasn't on the wait, be right back screen for too long there. Um, but yeah, so we're going to be talking a lot about sort of like just general team stuff and like how to improve. But yeah, so please stay tuned for that. It's in an hour, and hopefully I'll see you then. But I've got to sort of take care of some stuff in between now and then, so I'll be hopping off. But I will see you guys soon, hopefully. Thank you for watching, and take care.